the ability to take risk is also there.
Sure, but ability to convert that into applicables.
I totally agree, but only people Steve Jobs could take it, but many else, why did not Sony take that risk? I mean, is an aspect like digital films, you can see what Sony did to Kodak.
As Mr. Dubey said, we tend to get into a comfort zone also.
Sorry, John Pemberton, who formed the syrup for Coca-Cola, died a poor man. He was the founder. He started it as a cough syrup in Jacob's Pharmacy. He died a poor man. Robert Woodruff, who converted that syrup into Coca-Cola as a consumerable product which went into homes, died a multimillionaire.
I just want to make a slightly different point about innovation. Innovation requires experimentation. If we are creating a culture, both as a nation and in families and in organizations, where failure is something that cannot be tolerated, then I think we are making sure that innovation will not happen. So I think the ability to fail and not to completely kill somebody who makes a mistake or who creates a failure is so important a part of the culture that any society or any company needs to have if we are to innovate. So can we create a culture where we don't have so much fear that nobody wants to move out of the tried and tested path? How can we create this kind of a culture where we get rid of fear or at least cut down fear? And number two, how do we learn from our failure? That, I think, is what is sorely missing in many societies which don't want to accept any failure of any kind.
Rajiv, I'd like to just add to it what Srini was saying earlier as well. It depends on the culture, as you said. It is not only, you pardon somebody fail, still encourage you, fear of failure is one aspect. The other aspect in innovation is respect others' views first. I think, two parts. One is you encourage him to take decisions. Other is to respect the others' views first. I give one small example. The Horlicks bottle cap, innovation from metal cap to plastic cup was done by a workman, not by R&D. I think this is another aspect we think, some of these breakthrough innovations can come only from a gate guys or from R&D. It came from a shop floor workman who is illiterate. But I think, that is where, respect others' views regardless of the hierarchy and encourage them that inclusive culture, that you are also part of the team makes a difference.
I want to share some data from a research we have done. We analyzed data of thousands and thousands of managers across the globe. This included India, several other countries, and looked at individual characteristics which stimulate innovation, ability to think out of the box, ability to take risks, ability to pursue relentlessly. Several of the personality characteristics of individuals for several hundreds of thousands of people across the globe. We plotted that against what we call the innovation facilitation or the environmental facilities which stimulate innovation. It could be the government policies, it could be your education system, it could be development of scientific research establishments in the country. We plotted that, the individual innovation capability versus the environmental innovation capability. India scores very low on that. While at an individual level there is quite a bit of capability, the environmental support that is given to innovation is very low. Countries like Germany, Switzerland, Singapore, US score extremely high on this innovation index, whereas we are very, very low on this index. I thought I'd just share this data point.
Also, this is in fact, Adil, are we saying that innovation is the, kind of element that we look at, the discover the future the HR way? So I think we talked about a number of other elements. So, if we could actually bring out those elements in addition to the, innovation, which is important.
Yeah, excellent point.
So what's the other element that,
No, so what I think is not innovation. Innovation is one part of it. I think that the answer to that is those who have capability to convert innovation into monetizable value. That's why important. So the scientist who finds a research and does something is not the guy who's creating value. The value is how to use that knowledge into a commercial product which will create value, and that's what makes the difference.
I think it's also, see, to the first question that was asked, the answer was innovation, and we were discussing on innovation. I think your question is very valid in that sense. Another answer for this question could be execution competence, execution efficiency. You see, one is innovation, it's extremely important. There is no question of doubting or debating on whether innovation is important or not, but execution efficiency is also, what are some new models and new approaches to executing things accurately, quality, speed? This is very important.
You know, amazingly enough, when we talk about the ability of HR to build the future, to predict the future, there's very little that happens within HR itself. Do you gentlemen, any one of you agree with my perspective that HR does little to predict the future internally in the organization? Rajendra?
I do agree with this statement, because I think the level of engagement that generally HR engages with the business from a business perspective is probably lower than what it should be. If one is able to really understand the nuances of business, the ability to predict what would be a real capability scenario. So we have been talking about innovation, but I think going forward innovation has to be the culture. But I think the capability that talents that one would really start looking for, and if you are able to mesh what is that future talents which are required for the organizations, obviously you are hinting at or going in the direction which is aligning the talent with the way organization has to really reshape itself going forward.
You know, Agent Srinivas, you're trying to make a point. I saw you very enthusiastically on this question, on the ability of HR to be prepared, the preparedness of HR to predict the future.
See, HR programs and activities is establishing a foundation, a long-term sustainability foundation for organizations to grow, expand, and to deliver the kind of profitable growth that it is expected. HR is a long-term proposition. So we need to understand the larger human context in which we are operating if we have to deliver clear results on these long-term goals for HR. So we establishing a leadership institute, for instance, Infosys did that about 20 years ago. When the company itself was a 150 crore company, they invested 100 crores and established a large leadership institute. That is a very long-term thinking, that is vision, that is strategy. Now, HR has to understand the broader, the issues of people, sourcing people, building talent, and then training talent, developing competencies, and the changing lifestyles, changing technology. See, HR has to play a much wider role. That is when they are able to make an impact on the business fortune of the organization.
Sure. Building future leaders, the Mahindra way. Building future leaders, the SR way. Building future leaders, the Z Group way, or building future leaders, the Mother Dairy way, or the Angel Broking way. Your comments quickly, starting with Rajiv and then moving on to Adil, on what building future would look like.